To get Control Your Thinking as your skiza tune, dial *811*961#.
Did you know that you have complete control over everything that surrounds you? Yes, fully control over all that comes out of the seas, the earth, and the universe. That control is your thinking. Good thoughts bear good fruits, but bad thoughts will always bear bad fruits. Control your thinking.
To get Control Your Thinking as your skiza tune, dial *811*961#. *811*961#.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday Express. Tonight, two top politicians are saying it was not me. Deputy President William Ruto denies planning to impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta. Raila Odinga denies that government is funding his campaigns. The rule of politics: deny, deny, and deny.
Of course, we'll be telling you more about that politics of denial on this comprehensive news bulletin that begins right now. A little bit later on Sunday Express, the interview segment, I'll be engaging the Vice Chairperson of the Association of Media Women in Kenya, Rachel Ombaka. The association just turned 40, major milestones to celebrate, and also to look at, what women in media, have in store, and of course, in terms of their representation, in terms of the issues they're dealing with, and what they've brought on the table also, that we'll be discussing in just a bit. So do stay with us. This bulletin begins right now. But first, let's look at our top stories. Wooing the electorate.
Azimio continues with its charm offensive in Western as Kenya Kwanza camps at the coast.
Border sector reforms.
Fresh registration of operators to begin on Monday across the country.
And in sports,
KBC's Dira ya Magwiji anchor polling schedule takes 5th position in the inaugural Lioness Rally Championships.
All right, once again, welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Byron Abuli. My name is Serfine Achieng Oma.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. We begin The broadcast right away, ODM leader Raila Odinga has denied that the government is bankrolling his presidential campaign, as claimed by Deputy President William Ruto.
Raila has instead claimed that William Ruto may be the one using public resources to sustain the lengthy campaign he's been running since his election into office in 2013.
Weekly Focus with details on Odinga's political foray in Western Kenya.
Odinga's Sunday activities began with a church service at St. Joseph Shibuya Church in Shinyalo constituency, Kakamega County. Here, Odinga underscored the importance of the church while urging for peaceful coexistence in the country during and after the electioneering period. The Azimio la Umoja presidential flag bearer, in the company of other leaders, then proceeded on political engagements, including stopovers in Shinyalu, Kayega, and Ikolomani, among others, where he welcomed more leaders into the Orange Party, such as Navakholo Member of Parliament Emmanuel Wangwe.
Na kutoka leo mimi nipo katika chama cha ODM.
Raila denied claims made by Deputy President William Ruto that his campaign is being funded by taxpayers.
Kila mwezi jamaa anatumia shilingi milioni 100 kwa harambee, mshahara yake ni milioni 2 yake. Hii inatoka wapi? Hata Safaricom haiwezi kufanya harambee namna hiyo. Sio? Wala jamaa anakuja na kuweka hapo asiosi nini, watu wawili taka.
The ODM leader said if he becomes the next president, he will ensure proper utilization of public resources.
Mimi najua pale ambao wanapenya naye na kuingia kwa hazina zetu na kuiba pesa zetu.
Odinga drummed up support for his 10-point agenda, which he claimed had been tested and successfully applied in more developed economies. Leaders who accompanied Odinga dismissed claims by their counterparts in Kenya Kwanza, who allegedly suggested the ODM leader did not care about the Leah nation on matters development, even as they reiterated their support for Odinga's presidential push.
Na Uhuru Kenyatta yeye hajapeana kitu chochote kwa Waluhya. Yaani Raila aliingia cabinet ya Uhuru.
Familia ya Mluhya itakuja na invoice kwa Raila Amolo Odinga. Tutakuja tukisema mzee, tumeleta kiwango hii, tunastahili medali hii.
Yaani mmekuja hivi, alafu baba ashindwe. Haiwezekani.
Odinga is expected to conclude his 4 days campaigns in Kakamega County tomorrow with political engagements in Lukuyani and Lumukanda, among other places. Wycliffe Okech for Sunday Express from Kakamega County.
All right, from the Western region to Kilifi County now, Deputy President Dr. William Ruto has denied claims he wanted to overthrow the government and impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Speaking in Kilifi County on the second day of the Kenya Kwanza campaigns in Coast Region, the Deputy President accused his political competitors of lacking an agenda to transform the country and are instead resorting to cheap, laughable, and ridiculous propaganda after sensing defeat in the August 9th polls.
Speaking in Kilifi County during a Kenya Kwanza rally in Malindi, Deputy President Dr. William Ruto refuted claims of a conspiracy to bring down President Uhuru Kenyatta's government.
Mimi ni mtu mzima, mimi ni mtu niko na akili zangu, mimi si mlevi, mimi si wazimu, ati niweke serikali ndani, ati niende nifanyie njama ati ya kuipindua. Mtu ambaye anajulikana kwa kupindua serikali ako Kenya hii na anajulikana.
Wacheni kufanya Wakenya wajinga. Wakenya wamerevuka, hawawezi nunua propaganda. Tafuteni sera, nuuzie Wakenya sera. Venye sisi tunauza bottom.
Tunawauliza kwa heshima, wajue ya kwamba umoja na udhabiti wa nchi ndio muhimu zaidi kuliko kutafuta kura na maneno ya uongo na porojo na maneno ya pesa nane.
Ukisisikia haya mambo yote ya porojo ni kwa sababu wanafahamu wewe unaenda kuapishwa, na waomba wapwani wote tumuunge mkono tena zaidi.
The Deputy President also endorsed Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa as the gubernatorial candidate for Kilifi County on a United Democratic Alliance ticket.
Huyu mama Aisha Jumwa mnamjua? Hebu nione wala wanasema mtatupatia gavana wa UDA.
Ati nasikia watu wanasema huko sijui hii ni ngome sijui ya nani. Ngome ya nani? Ngome ya Pwani ni ya Mpwani mwenyewe, na Mpwani ameamua safari hii ni William Samoei Ruto.
Meanwhile, Ruto's co-principals Musalia Mudavadi of Amani National Congress and Moses Wetangula of Ford Kenya were in Vihiga County for a series of campaign rallies where they exuded confidence to deliver Western Kenya votes to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Mimi na ndugu yangu Musalia tumebeba yeye kwa mabega yetu, lakini yeye hana shukrani, hana heshima, hana asante. Hawa jamaa wameanza kututisi ati sisi hatuwezi kuweka gavana ama kuchagua gavana wa mrengo wetu. Raundi hii lazima kitendawili ajue kwamba tulipokuwa tukishirikiana na yeye asifikiri sisi ni wajinga.
Ben Chumba, Sunday Express.
And now the United Democratic Movement Party has endorsed Mandera County Assembly Speaker Mohamed Khalif to succeed outgoing Governor Ali Roba.
The leaders, led by Roba, who is eyeing the senatorial seat in the August polls, claimed only the Speaker is best suited to lead the county and enhance the legacy of his predecessor.
The United Democratic Party has unanimously endorsed Mandera County Speaker Mohamed Khalif to vie for gubernatorial seat in the August elections. Khalif was endorsed in Nairobi by a section of leaders from Mandera who say he is the best owing to his track record.
Amekuwa speaker wa county na ameona vile tumeongoza katika county hiyo miaka 5 ambayo tuko pamoja. Ndio tumetoa ishara ya kusema huyu anaweza peleka hawa jamii wote pamoja.
Mandera County baada ya Gavana Robo kutoka amepata kiongozi ambaye anaweza shikanisha wananchi wa Mandera.
Khalif and his running mate Ali Mohammed pledged to unite all communities in Mandera County, even as they dispelled claims that they are projects of the current Governor Ali Roba.
What we want to assure the people of Mandera is that we will put together a government of inclusivity of all the people of Mandera.
Meanwhile, Migori Senator Achilo Ayako has urged Orange Democratic Movement competing aspirants to consider settling the differences ahead of the general election.
Kama wamekihama chama na wanajidai kwamba wanasema kwamba wanampenda Raila, warudi kwa chama.
And a section of Jubilee Party aspirants have called upon their supporters to throw their weight behind the ruling party, claiming it's homegrown and has the best interests of the electorate. The leaders who spoke in Nairobi also cautioned the masses against being duped by persons who are seeking elective offices for personal gains.
Sasa kubadilisha nchi ni viongozi. Tunaanzia na Kasarani, alafu nchi nzima tubadilishe, si ndio?
Jubilee ni lazima kwa watu wa Mlima Kenya, kwa maana ndio gari yetu ya kutubeba, ya kunegotiate kwa jamii zingine ama kwa serikali zingine zozote zenye zitakuja.
And a section of the clergy and the elected leaders in Kiambu County are calling upon the political leaders across the country to desist from abusive and use of derogatory words while on the campaign trail. They spoke at AICPK Church headquarters in Githunguri, Kiambu County, during the ordination of Bishop David Gatimu of the Archbishop of African Independent Church of Kenya. For Sunday Express, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Thank you, Gladys, for that report. Now from politics to the ongoing reforms in the border sector. The government will on Monday launch fresh registration of border operators and issuance of smart driving licenses in all the 52 Huduma centers across the country.
The exercise that will be presided over by principal secretaries and other senior government officials is set to run for 60 days from March 28th to June 24th.
For 60 days beginning Monday, March 28th, border operators in the country will be registered afresh. The exercise is part of reforms to restore sanity in the sector following incidents of lawlessness that led to President Uhuru Kenyatta to order a nationwide crackdown of border operators and registration of all motorcycles.
I did give instructions and I have ordered a crackdown on all border operators starting here in Nairobi and moving across the country.
The head of state also ordered a waiver of 5,800 shillings registration fee for all the operators across the country.
We applaud the many wonderful young men, and in some cases women, who ride these motorbikes and do great service to this country. That is not a license for you and your motorbike to harass pedestrians by driving on pedestrian walkways and chasing them back off onto the road.
Additionally, the close to 2.4 million boda operators countrywide were ordered to ensure they register with the SACCO after obtaining a smart driving license. To be registered, a rider must have an original national identification card, a copy of the KRA PIN number, and an active registered phone number. After successful registration, he or she will be issued with a smart driving license. Riders will also be required to enroll for the National Hospital Insurance Fund, after which they qualify for a 200,000 shilling annual cover. For Sunday Express, I'm Zainab Said.
And children at the Acts of Hope home, located in Kioria area of Nairobi, are staring at eviction after the owner of the land on which the facility sits put it up for sale.
The home's director, Bishop Naomi Okwako, is appealing to well-wishers to help them find alternative accommodation.
Initially established as a church in 2015, the facility gradually transformed to an orphanage which houses 62 children ranging in age from toddlers to teenagers.
Sitting on this 50 by 100 plot in Kioria area, Nairobi County, is the Acts of Hope Children's Home. Inside, the children sit patiently waiting for lunch to be served, oblivious of the predicament the home is facing. In 2018, Bishop Naomi Okwako started a church in the compound and soon after began taking in orphans and abandoned children.
Wakati natembea kwa wale washirika na waombea, napata mwingine ana mtoto anaishi naye, lakini ukiona venye ule mtoto alipoteza wazazi, labda hamuweki vizuri, na muongelesha, na mwambie unipe huyu mtoto. Juu mimi naona una watoto wengi, unipe huyu mtoto nikae naye, wananipa.
Over the years, the number of children gradually increased, leading congregants to abandon the church. Rent soon became an issue.
Sasa landlord nimekuwa nikimuongelesha ile ngoja nitapata nitakupea ngoja, hata ikafika mahali ikawa hapana. Sasa akaja na fujo, ikawa hatuelewani.
The 62 children now only have 4 rooms. This hall, which served as the church, is now a classroom by day and offers more space for sleeping at night. Trouble again came knocking last year.
Sijakubali hata kukubaliana naye kuhusu muda. Ametaka sana akiniambia nimwambie ni muda gani ambapo mimi naona naweza toka, lakini mimi nimekataa kumpa muda kwa sababu sijakuwa na mahali ninaenda, sina mahali naenda.
The children who call Bishop Okwako mother will find themselves homeless if the plot gets a buyer.
Mimi ndasikia vibaya sana kwa sababu mama ameweza kuhangaika na sisi sana, na kunao wadogo ambao tukiweza kuambia waondoke sehemu ya wajua tenda wapi, na tungeweza kupata mahali ambapo tutaweza kuketi na tutulie, tungesema ni asante.
Even us, we always feel happy when we feel our mom has money and is ready to take us to school, buy for us books and other things. Even when schools open, we don't know if we may go to school or we will remain here because we have big money there in school.
The Acts of Hope Children's Home is staring at a bleak future, with the home's director calling on well-wishers to come to their aid and help them find a different location to set up a home before they're evicted here by the owner who wishes to sell this land. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express from Kioria area, Nairobi County.
All right, whichever direction this takes, the future of those children is at stake. So we do hope that that will be a matter to consider.
And a fantastic job done by Yusuf Farah.
Yeah. All right, matter security now. 2 people from the same village in Village 18, Githiga Ward in Laikipia County are nursing gunshot injuries in different hospitals after they were attacked and wounded by suspected bandits.
It is alleged that the duo were attacked near their home on Saturday evening when a gang of at least 30 invaded the area and terrorized several homes before they began shooting indiscriminately.
Residents of Githiga Ward of Laikipia County are living in fear following an attack in the area. 2 people are nursing injuries following the attack. Peter Akamuto, age 47, and his younger brother Samuel Kinyua, age 29 years, were shot separately during the incident. Speaking at the Nyahururu County Referral Hospital where he is receiving treatment, Peter recounted how the bandits surrounded their homes and started shooting indiscriminately.
Wakati waliona mahali wameingilia na mahali mbaya moja ni kidogo, sijui ni kama walichanganyikiwa, wakaona ng'ombe itawasumbua kutafuta mahali ya kutolea, wakazifika risasi na wakaondoka.
Hata mimi nikashikwa na mchangao, hata mimi nikaribu kuingilia. Sasa nikajikaza kimwanaume nikasema sitalia, lakini aisha ningojee ripoti. Alafu nikapiga simu nikaambiwa ya kwamba watu wanapiga simu, majirani wanapiga simu kuwapigia simu, lakini hawashiki. Sasa hawajui kama wameaga ama bado.
His younger brother found himself in the melee as he was returning home and sustained a leg injury.
Majagiri walikuwa wengi kwa sababu walivamia boma zisizopungua 5 na baada ya muda mfupi askari wa NPR wakawa wamekuwa informed na wakarespond kwa haraka.
The attack comes even as the Ministry of Interior defended itself over the delay in the construction of a police station in Olmoran.
Mwaka ikiendelea, mahitaji na malengo saa zingine ugeuka, na ni lazima sisi wenyewe tuulize National Treasury waende watugeuzie, waseme hii pesa ilikuwa ijenge hii police station, tumeona hiyo police station hawako tayari, wacha ipelekwe kwa police station nyingine, kwa ile process inaitwa reallocation.
Meanwhile, a section of leaders in Isiolo County has urged the government to escalate the ongoing operation to flush out armed herders in the region.
Na pia kama kuna vijana wanafuata hizi mifugo iweze kujulikana idadi yao, ndio mambo mbaya ikitokea wenye wamekaribishwa waweze kuchukua jukumu haijafuatwa.
The government should ensure that all communities living here coexist peacefully, so that we can have a, we are communities living in Isiolo. All of us are brothers and sisters.
The calls come amid heightening tension following the killing of a motorist along the Isiolo-Merti Road. Timothy Kipnusu for Sunday Express.
Right, it's time for us to take our first breather on Sunday Express. But of course, when we come back, quite an interesting conversation happening tonight about women in media. There's a report that was released just the other day when they were having their convention. I'm sure you'll be able to tell us the details about our reports.
Indeed, by Wanifra, it's just about some of the issues that women in media are going through, sexual harassment ranking high, and Kenya not doing very well when it comes to the countries that were ranked in Africa. If you look at where Kenya was placed,
so Kenya is leading?
Yes, Kenya is leading in cases of sexual harassment on women in the media. We'll be talking about that and other issues as well that women in media are going through. But of course, the theme is balancing the imbalance, majorly talking about why it is pivotal to achieve adequate representation of women in the media industry. I'll be having a sit down with Rachel Ombaka, the Vice Chair of the Association of Media Women in Kenya, in just a bit. To stay with us as we take a very short break.
Nilipimwa hospitalini, kabainika nilikuwa na TB.
Nilianza matibabu ya TB mara moja. Nilimeza dawa zangu bila kukosa kwa muda unaofaa, kama nilivyoshauriwa na daktari.
matibabu bila malipo katika hospitali zote za umma. Tujijali, tumalize TB. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Wizara ya Afya na washirika wake.
I'll let them have the taste of the living hell I've been going through. This I'll have to see too.
Do you have a picture of your daughter on you right now?
Oh, here's my daughter's photo.
You had a miscarriage without a baby. Where's your wound? Got inflamed?
Don't expect me to be a nice and tender mother. Before you go and get rid of all your old habits, I'm going to be extremely harsh on you.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. On this second part, let's look at the latest when it comes to matters COVID in the country.
All right, 9 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 3,572 in the last 24 hours.
The new cases are representative of a 0.3% infection rate. No new COVID-19 related death has been reported.
The Ministry of Health says a total of 17.5 million vaccines have been administered so far across the country.
Globally, over 480 million COVID-19 cases have so far been reported, and over 6 million people have lost their lives to the disease.
This is according to the Johns Hopkins University of Medicine.
Now, from the counties, the Kenya Red Cross Society is appealing to organizations and donors to intervene and save over 3.1 million Kenyans affected by drought in the country.
Reports from the society indicate the situation is worsening by the day owing to the prolonged drought that has now lasted for over 3 years.
An additional 1.5 million livestock have died due to lack of pasture and water.
The acting head of disaster management at Kenya Red Cross Society, Dr. Michael Ayabe, said the drought situation is most dire in coastal and northern counties.
And all that we can say is to appeal for support for food, just to support what has already been done. We've already provided food in kind to over 38,000 households.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Tea Development Authority has announced 1.2 billion more in mini bonus payments for tea farmers.
The main bonus will be paid in full on or before the 8th July of this year. This is in line with the tea reforms introduced in the Tea Act 2020, which made provisions for balanced.
Still in Kiambu County, the Kenyatta family convened an interdenominational prayer at the Githunguri Stadium, where the clergy called on Kenyans to foster peaceful coexistence.
We are here to break the evil altar of bloodshed and murder and lack of justice, injustice and slavery and division and competition. And we have prayed this afternoon, and the Lord has heard us.
Meanwhile, a section of journalists in Turkana County held a peaceful protest in Lodwar town, accusing certain employees in Governor Josephat Nanok's office of frustrating them in their line of duty.
Tumeamua kutembea na kuweza kuandamana tukikashifu kitendo ambacho tuliweza kufanyiwa siku ya Alhamisi, siku ambayo tulikuwa tumealikwa kuweza kuzindua watu kutoka kaunti ya Turkana wakipewa cheki.
Mbona
Elsewhere, the Commissioner for Cooperatives, David Obonyo, has hailed the implementation of the SACCO Society's regulations, saying it has brought sanity to SACCOs by safeguarding members' deposits and assets.
The regulations covers the SACCOs that have mobilized deposits of 100 million Kenya shillings, SACCOs that are operating on virtual platforms, and SACCOs that have been formed by a Kenyan.
He cited poor governance and low technology adoption as key challenges in the sector that have been addressed by the regulations and encouraged Kenyans to invest in SACCOs. Finally, the University of Embu, in partnership with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, organized a peace walk dubbed Uchaguzi Bila Noma.
Watoto wetu wanapokuwa masomoni wanaanza kuthamini swala la uwiano, swala la amani, swala la kukaa pamoja, kusuluhisha tofauti zetu kwa amani. So katika kujenga misingi hiyo ndio pana tunataka kutumia leo wanafunzi.
The walk that attracted hundreds of students is aimed at sensitizing residents on the need to maintain peace during and after the electioneering period.
Now, when watching news on television, the viewer may not exactly know what is involved in the news gathering process.
In this week's episode of The Process, you will learn one or two things about the different stages of television news production, the tools of trade, and the profiles of key professionals involved in the process.
Nisi Manu with that story.
Television news production is a complex process in which different professionals and machines interact in order to bring the story alive. The first stage in the TV news production process is the pre-production. This stage involves general preparations, idea generation, and research.
As soon as I get to the office, you check the newsroom diary to see if there's a diary of events, like what is planned during the day, and if there are events to be covered maybe.
In this case, the news editor assigns the reporter the news story to execute for the day.
So what happens is you're given an assignment, you go for a brief at the editor's desk, basically telling you this is what's happening, the 5 W's and H, what is happening, where is it happening, who are the main speakers and everything, and possibly a number of questions that may help you do the story well.
He then goes to the head of electronic news gathering, who assigns a camera person to accompany him on the assignment. Once that is done, the reporter and the cameraman proceed to the parking lot for transport. Here, the necessary logistics have been coordinated by the logistic or assignment editor. The journey begins. Sometimes hitches happen. But nonetheless, the story must be told. Alternative plans are quickly put in place, and the crew is well on their way to execute the assignment. Once the reporter is on location and the setup is done, the actual shooting and recording begins. Once the guest has been interviewed, the reporter heads back to the newsroom and straight to the news editor for a debrief session.
So what is there? What is there?
After that, the reporter gets down to scripting the story. The script then goes to the editor for sub-editing. Here, the editor checks and corrects the script within context and writes necessary headlines and captions. The script can now go for translation to have it translated into Swahili for the purpose of the 7 p.m. Swahili Bulletin. And depending on the substance of the script, the editor can decide to make the news story a straight cut, requiring no voice-over, like in our case today. Or a package, meaning the reporter is expected to voice the script in the sound booth.
Speaking at a political rally in Bomet East constituency.
Once that is done, the reporter goes to the video edit suite, where he sits with a video editor to edit the story. Once done, the straight cut and the package are then sent to the transmission server. As the news presenter or anchor gets ready for the news bulletin, editors develop the running order, which is the lining up of the news items depending on the strength of the news of the day. This is done in consultation with the news producer on duty.
Before any production starts on the hour, we are the people who process the news before the bulletin starts.
I liaise with my editors on the desk. I follow up on the reporters in the field. I know who is where, doing what, and what story that is coming to us so that we can include it in our running order. And is everything ready from the anchor, from the scripts, from the clips, so that you have our production.
Meanwhile, those in charge of news transmission studio are busy getting ready, headed by the news director.
Stand by. In 3, 2, 1, cut. On air.
Bila shaka ni fahari yetu kuwa hapa kukupasha yaliyojiri humu.
Generally, my work entails liaising with sub-editors, video editors, reporters, anchors in studio. So when I come here at the gallery, as you can see the backdrop of my background, my work entails coordinating with technical guys, making sure the sound is good of the anchor who's in studio. Lighting is perfect. And then my shots at studio, they have to be the correct shots that I want to use for it to go on air.
Kundi hilo kwa jina Hapo Vipi limesema ni muhimu kwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, naibu wake William Ruto na kiongozi wa.
And that is what is involved in TV news production.
As a national broadcaster, we here at KBC pride ourselves in being able to provide news that is fast, credible, it is factual, it is informative, and it is educative. Reporting from the KBC studios in Nairobi, Amnesty Emmanuel.
Nilipoanza kukohoa, kuhisi maumivu kwa kifua, uchovu mwilini, joto jingi mwilini, kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, kukosa hamu ya chakula na kupoteza uzito haraka. Nilipimwa hospitalini, kabainika nilikuwa na TB.
Nilianza matibabu ya TB mara moja. Nilimeza dawa zangu bila kukosa kwa muda unaofaa, kama nilivyoshauriwa na daktari.
Ugonjwa wa TB sio uchawi. Mtu yeyote yule anaweza kupatwa na ugonjwa huu, lakini ukimeza dawa vizuri, TB inatiba.
Nilitibiwa TB, nikapona na niko sawa.
TB inatiba. Pata matibabu bila malipo katika hospitali zote za umma. Tujijali, tumalize TB. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Wizara ya Afya na washirika wake.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Before we head over to Serfine for our interview tonight, let's get to the pitch a bit. Maxine Wahome, navigated by veteran Serfine Khan, is the winner of the inaugural Lioness Rally held Sunday at Kasarani Super Spectator Stage. The Lioness Rally saw 8 female drivers battle for top honors.
The inaugural Lioness Rally was flagged on Sunday morning by Kenya Motorsports Federation President Phineas Kimanthi at Kasarani Stadium. After a grueling battle, Maxim Wahome, co-driven by veteran Serfine Khan, emerged victorious, clocking 17 minutes and 16 seconds ahead of Natasha Tudo, co-driven by Chantal Young, who came in second.
Leo ni kama kuwapa motisha wale ambao hawajaendesha magari na pia wale hawajaifanya navigation, so it's like tunawatrain na pia wana learn a lot.
Caroline Gatimu, navigated by Tinash Gatimu, finished third, while Lisa Christopherson and KBC Channel 1 anchor Pauline Shegu completed the top 5 positions.
We've broken the bias and now we've made history in Kenya for the very first time. An all-women's rally team, only women drivers, women navigators. It's a beautiful feeling.
The Lioness Rally saw 8 female drivers battle for top honors. Daniel Mwendwa for Sunday Express.
Congratulations, Pauline Shegu, for that scintillating performance. Reigning East Africa champions Nairobi Water Queens retained the Kenya Handball Federation Super Cup title after a hard 429-28 win over KDF at Nyayo National Stadium. Nairobi Water Queens, who completed their round-robin matches without losing a fixture, led from the west to retain the title. Gladys Chilo was the top scorer for Water Queens with 6 goals, while Sarah Wasike scored 8 goals for KDF. Sirius won the men's title after seeing off perennial nemesis KDF 29-26. The Super Cup tournament signaled the start of the Kenya Handball Federation League season. And Limuru Golf Club's Dan Lubanga led his team of Rosita D'Souza Mukami Wangai and Hassan Elali to emerge the overall winners of the 12th leg of the Johnny Walker Golf Series played at the Limuru County Club. Meanwhile, Nandi-based Lydia Jebichi was crowned the winner of the 4th leg of the ongoing Safaricom Golf Tour held at Nyanza Golf Club.
Lubanga led his team of Rosita D'Souza, Mukami Wangai and Hassan Ileli to win the 12th leg of the Johnny Walker Golf Series. The team of Kamau Kuria, Timothy Njehia, Jerry Kionjori and Aaron Kenyanjui came in second, having scored a combined 111 points, 2 more than the team of Robert Gashaga, Joseph Ikanyi, Simon Mwangi and Robert Jenga, who claimed the second runners-up position. Meanwhile, Handicap 34, Hassan Ileli, emerged the men's category winner, while Handicap 25, Beth Karaoke, bagged the ladies' title.
Even if we did not play very well, some of us, I believe there are people who will enjoy and they are happy. Sometimes you wake up and you don't play very well, but it was a great day. I had a great company and I enjoyed myself.
So we had more than 200 players grace this occasion. Johnny Walker always has a very big turnout here at Limuru Country Club. As you can see, the course is a bit dry given the drought that we are undergoing as a country. But as you can see, we've done a lot of irrigation for our club. Our greens are doing very well. Our fairways are doing better than most.
Following the Limuru event, attention now turns to Muthaiga Golf Club for the next leg of the series, dubbed Road to Glen Eagles on April 2nd. Elsewhere, Nandi-based Lydia Jebichi was crowned the winner of the 4th leg of the ongoing Safaricom Golf Tour held at Nyanza Golf Club. Playing off a handicap of 21, Jebichi braved the challenge of G. Owino, B.V. Patel and B. Patel, holding a birdie on the 6th, 9th and 18th holes and par on the rest of the holes to emerge the tournament's winner. Josiah Omutuko emerged the winner of the men's category, while Mother Okelo won the ladies' category.
Being the first lady to win the Safaricom Golf Tour, I'm expecting to to put up a good fight with the gentlemen. Yeah, and probably emerge the winner too there.
The tournament drew 135 senior golfers from Kisumu and its environs, including Western Region golf clubs. After Nyanza, the tournament heads to Machakos Golf Club on April 9th to 10th before proceeding to the Eldoret Golf Club.
And our Chelsea duo Kai Havertz and Timo Werner scored as Germany beat Israel 2-0 to make it 8 wins in a row since manager Hansi Flick took charge. Meanwhile, the Netherlands thrashed Denmark 4-2 in a friendly match as Christian Eriksen played for his country. Denmark for the first time since his cardiac arrest of Euro 2020 last June.
Deflected up.
Germany registered a 2-0 win over Israel to make it 8 wins in a row since manager Hansi Flick took charge. Kai Havertz opened the scoring with a header in the 36th minute before Timo Werner sealed victory for Germany in the first half extra time.
One more chance perhaps before the break. Werner makes it 2-0 in stoppage time.
Meanwhile, Christian Eriksen scored for Denmark as he played for his country for the first time since his cardiac arrest at Euro 2020 last June in their 4-2 loss to the Netherlands.
Christensen, Skovholsen, he's got in behind the defence, pulled back, oh, Christian Eriksen! Within 2 minutes of his return to international football.
Tottenham's Steven Bergwijn scored twice for the Netherlands, with Nathan Ake and Memphis Depay also on the score sheet, while Jannik Vestergaard netted Denmark's first goal.
Bergwijn, beautiful.
In other matches, England humbled Switzerland 2-1, Spain beat Albania 2-1, while Republic of Ireland drew 2-2 with Belgium. For lunchtime news, I'm Daisy Cherop.
And finally, Russian top seed Daniil Medvedev won the second round match against Andy Murray to keep the semi-final hopes alive at the Miami Open. Elsewhere, Britain's Dan Evans and Heather Watson were also beaten in Florida.
Medvedev, who must reach the semi-finals in Miami to reclaim the world #1 ranking from Novak Djokovic, won the second round match 6-4, 6-2. Andy Murray, who is the 3-time Grand Slam winner and ranked 85th in the world, could not respond after being broken down by Medvedev in the third game of the first set. Medvedev lost the world #1 ranking to 20-time Grand Slam winner Djokovic on Monday, having replaced the Serbian as #1 for 3 weeks. Elsewhere, world number 27 Dan Evans was beaten in 3 sets by Japan's Yoshihito Nishioka, who battled back to win 3-6, 6-4, 6-3, while Heather Watson lost her third round match to Switzerland's Belinda Bencic, 6-4, 6-1 in Florida.
Time for us to take a very short breather, but of course when we come back we'll go straight on to Serfine. Achieng. We'll be talking to Rachel Umbaka, the Vice Chair of the Association of Media Women in Kenya. And there's so much to talk about the space of women in newsrooms as well as media operations. And there's that very, very shocking thing about Kenya leading when it comes to issues of sexual harassment for women. We'll talk about that on the other end of studio after this short breather.
Let them have the taste of the living hell I've been going through. This I'll have to see to.
Do you have a picture of your daughter on you right now? Oh, here's my daughter's photo.
You had a miscarriage without a baby. Where's your wound? Got inflamed?
Don't expect me to be a nice and tender mother before you go and get rid of all your old habits. I'm going to be extremely harsh on you.
We saw you
All right, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And we kickstart our interview for the night on Sunday Express. We want to talk about how to balance the imbalance in the media industry when it comes to women's representation in the media. And of course, also we will go a notch higher and discuss some of the issues that women in the media are battling with today and talk about the good side, the gains. And with me to talk about all that is Rachel Ombaka, the Vice Chairperson of the Association of Media Women in Kenya. Thank you, Rachel, for creating time for us on a Sunday night. We appreciate that.
Thank you so
but
much.
of course, a good point to start. You're sitting here today just a few days after there was the celebration to mark 40 years at Amwick. I'm sure this must have come with quite a number of milestones that probably you would like to, share with us. Tell us a bit about how the journey has been and what are the key highlights for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Serfine, for having me. When we were celebrating Amwick at 40, it was not just a celebration for Amwick as an organization, but as women in general in the media. If you sit down with veteran journalists like Joseph Odindo, he'll tell you when the media was starting out, when media houses were being set up in the 1900s, like Standard, 1960s for Nation Media, there were very few women, if at all. And by the time you were having a woman in leadership in the media, it took years and years for that to happen. But right now you have the likes of Pamela Sitoni, you have the likes of Pamela Sigi, Jamila Mbogwa, you can name them and you can see them. So that's one of the things that we were celebrating. The number of women were few, but now they're many, and they're many at the top as well. They may not be at the number that we want them to be at, but at least there's progress. Aside from that, when Amwick started, they started out as just a group of less than 10 women who wanted to see changes in the media sector. So they would meet in one of their houses, to discuss what can we do to change this space. But right now we have almost 500 members. And considering where Amwick started from and the vision that the founders had, 500 is quite a big number, and that's just members of Amwick. There are other women who are members of other associations. So we are many, and that's a celebration. Another thing is the number of partners that have come on board because they're like-minded individuals. For example, the EU in Kenya, you have Article 19, you have Journalists for Human Rights. They also want to see women thrive. So you find that they are seeing what Amwick is doing and they want to amplify that. They want to amplify the voices of women. So they were part of our celebrations, as you mentioned, during the 2 days, because they have seen where we have come from and they want to see us make even greater gains in the media sector. Yeah.
So it was an opportunity to celebrate the gains that have been achieved over time.
Yes.
Why is it crucial to discuss the gender agenda when it comes to media representation? Because I'm yet to see, and correct me if I'm wrong, an association of male journalists coming together to support each other. Why is it important to have an organization such as Amwick and also to discuss issues revolving around women and their existence in the media? There has to be a story behind that story.
Absolutely. And it stems back to what I was talking about earlier. The media industry was designed by men, for men. And for women to break that, it took a lot. It took the boldness of the Amwick founders that I'm talking about. It took the boldness of women who were like, I can do this. This is not just a men's thing. I can cover politics. I can cover sports. And for other women to see this being done, it also means that in terms of generation, if your young one can see, for example, Serfine reading news, she'll believe that she can do it as well. Because in the past, they only saw men. So you want women to see other women doing it, to encourage themselves, to give them more confidence. And this is why we have to keep these conversations going. And not to downgrade what men are doing. Men are doing a fantastic job, but we want women to also have a level playing field. And this is why we have associations. And you're not the first one to ask me, how come men don't have associations? It's a valid question, but when you have been here and then you have someone who has been at the bottom, you want to help this person at the bottom rise up. And that is why associations like ours came to be, because they saw that there was a gap in terms of gender. And to lift up the other gender, we decided, why not have a support system, a safe space, somewhere where we can tap into individuals who have gone ahead of us, stand on their shoulders so that we can be at least at the same level.
All right.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about some of the key issues that have come on the table as issues that women are facing. Probably in the course of that journey, what would you term as some of the biggest challenges that women in the media are facing or have faced over time?
I'll start with the biggest elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I heard earlier when you were talking with your co-host, and he heard that Kenya is leading in sexual harassment cases in Africa, and it was a shock to him. And it's also a shock to many, because the media covers ills in society, but we don't cover ills, you know, within the newsroom. People don't know what goes on in the newsroom. But when you make these things public, then at least there's a mechanism for redress. People know what's going on, and you can find solutions on how to address it. So the first major challenge, I would say, is sexual harassment and the silence around sexual harassment. There is fear. The victims, the survivors, they fear talking about it because of reprisal. They fear they'll lose their job. They fear shame. They will be shamed. They fear being the talk of town. You'll go and report, and all of a sudden your story is, you know, everyone is talking about it. And then even when they do report, nothing is done. You know what I mean? Because most of the perpetrators are in power. They wield power. They decide whether or not you'll have a job to come to tomorrow. And from what I've seen in most media houses, the perpetrators are also able to jump from one media house to another. So you'll find, even if the media house takes this case very seriously and probably fires the perpetrator, whether it's male or female, he will go to another media house and he'll get another job. So the victims ask, why should I report then? What's the point? I will not get justice. This man will continue with his life. This woman will continue with her life. And here I am left to deal with the trauma. And most of the times you find that it's psychological. The effects are psychological, which means it affects your productivity. Basically, sexual harassment is bad for business. And if we don't realize that, it could bring down the media. And that is why there's a lot of talk right now about sexual harassment. Yes.
And it's important that we have you, because you're part of a working group that has been working with media houses to ensure that you know, media houses comply with you know, strategies or efforts to curb this particular vice. Just tell us a bit about how big this problem is. You know, we are talking about sexual harassment in the newsrooms. Somebody would even not believe that it is there in the first place. So how big of a problem is this? And what are some of the loopholes that could be exploited by perpetrators to lead to numbers, you know, being inexistent in the newsrooms?
Aside from the Women in News study that showed that Kenya is leading, the Media Council had also done its own research with Article 19. And they found that 8 out of 10 women in the newsroom are likely to face harassment.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Which means when you're coming in, either as an intern or you're coming in fresh from school, you've graduated and you've been employed as a reporter, you are likely, you will absolutely be at risk of facing sexual harassment. And the number of women leaving the newsroom right now, it is because of sexual harassment. You cannot thrive in an environment where you're looked at as a sexual symbol, where you enter and the first thing someone does is comment on your dressing, or, you know, makes lewd jokes, or you find the person you're sitting next to when you're doing your assignment is watching pornography. That is what sexual harassment is. It makes you uncomfortable, and yet you're supposed to be comfortable when you're in your working environment. So in March 2021, the Kenya Media Council of Kenya brought together 15 organizations working in the media industry to talk about the reasons why women are leaving the media, the reasons why the news industry is not as professional as it should be. And one of the reasons that came up was sexual harassment. And then Amwek now was chosen to lead interventions. So this ad hoc committee, of which I am the chair, has developed a work plan to address advocacy, to address awareness. Some people will tell you, I didn't know that was sexual harassment, and then they will get aware with it, and you can't blame them, because you can't blame someone who tells you I didn't know. But once we deal with this sector of awareness, now that will no longer be an excuse, right? So awareness, advocacy, and then most importantly, redress mechanisms. Because as we were saying earlier, I'm not going to report if I I know nothing is going to be done. And even in terms of reporting, do I feel safe enough to report? And for us, Amwik is supposed to be a safe space for women. So the ad hoc committee is also developing an external mechanism of reporting so that if you don't have belief in your newsroom, you have another avenue to report whatever has happened to you or that you have seen happen to someone else. So this ad hoc committee intends to intentionally address this vice known as sexual harassment. So the work plan is running for a year. It began in November and we'll start activities like going to newsroom, talking to media owners, and it will run through November 2022. But after that, because this seems to be a much bigger problem, you know, than we realized, I'm sure we will even extend because partners are now coming on board like IREX. IREX offers counseling because the women affected, the men affected need counseling for them to be able to continue working. We have the ODPP as a partner because we're talking about a justice system, which the process is very long. So once you have a partner like the ODPP on board, you know how serious this matter is, and you at least feel like this matter is being taken seriously.
So far, where are you in terms of implementing that particular work plan? Have you taken a step?
Yes, absolutely. We had, in November 2021, we had a session known as Men to Men, because for the longest time, sexual harassment has been deemed as a fight between men and women. It is not. It is violation of a person's dignity. It's personal, right? And for a person to feel uncomfortable, that means that they can no longer work properly. So that is why we decided to have the Men-to-Men conference. We've had men-to-men in different regions of the country so that they can be the champions. They can speak out for women because most of the people affected with sexual harassment are women. The numbers are greater than men, which is why when you have men speaking for women, it is a much better approach than when you have women speaking and complaining about it. There's a friend who calls it the Book of Lamentations. We have been complaining so much.
So you're changing the strategy.
Exactly, we are changing exactly.
Same message, but how you deliver it.
How you deliver it, yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
But you also have reality. We also have men that are also falling victim to sexual harassment in the media space.
Yes.
Is that also being considered?
Yes, it is. It is being considered because they face the same thing that women face. They will not speak up because of the patriarchal system that we live in. A man who comes up and says, I've been sexually harassed, will either be ridiculed, laughed at, or told, you should be enjoying it. You should enjoy the attention, you're a man. And yet he feels violated. And that is why I said it's a very personal thing, sexual harassment. And for you to feel violated, it means you've been affected and you need redress. But for a man to feel safe enough to come up and say that he's been sexually harassed, you have to create a space for him to feel safe, and there has to be systems in place where he can say, okay, this is how I can report and this is what will be done.
All right.
Yes.
Rachel, there's a lot to discuss, and I want us to talk about another elephant in the room that is underrepresentation. But before then, just a general comment on how, this vice could have impacted the performance or, what women are bringing on the table in the media industry, or even just men who have fallen victim on this particular vice. Any impact that you can cite?
Aside from leaving the newsroom and writing off media houses in general, there's a perception that the media is a lion's den. There are people in the newsroom right now who are parents, and they will tell you, I will never allow my daughter to join a newsroom. And it's a shame, because how can you have such a vibrant industry that wields power in society, that sets the agenda, and yet you have parents of the younger generation telling you, no, I won't allow my daughter to. No, I can't. It's unsafe. It's, I don't want her to go through
because of the realities.
Exactly. So we look bad out there, and it's not right. Aside from that, there's the individual. There are women who have become depressed. You find that a woman is a high performer. She does excellent stories. She does excellent coverage of news. I had one of your reporters reading sports news. But then this thing called sexual harassment happens. Do you know it changes you as a person? All of a sudden, you're a shadow of your former self. You have self-doubt. You no longer believe in yourself. You start drinking. You start skipping work. because you've been affected by what has happened to you. You blame yourself, especially when there is no redress. You blame yourself. You're like, what shouldn't I have done? What should I have done so that it doesn't happen to me, right? So these things that we don't think about, they are all tied to productivity.
Okay.
Yes.
Quickly, just tell us a bit about the underrepresentation. Why is it important to have an adequate, representation of women in the media, especially in the senior position?
Yes.
How will that change anything? Anyway?
That's an excellent question. And last week, KBC launched its gender mainstreaming policy because they have realized that having women on top adds some sort of value, and the value is quantifiable. I think they said organizations that embrace women in leadership increase a country's GDP by 20 to 30%. So when you look at the bigger picture, you are not doing women a favor. When you embrace women, when you bring them up to leadership positions, it adds something to the economy, because they often say women are the backbone of an economy. So when you have a woman up there, you're assured that your company is going to do well. Aside from that, you will notice that most of the time the coverage that we have on women's issues is very, it lacks depth. It's very shallow. For example, how we cover gender-based violence stories. The woman will be vilified. If at all the woman is the victim, she'll be vilified. She'll be blamed. She'll be asked, why were you wearing that? Then the man will be asked, or rather questions surrounding the man will be like, he was a church-going man, he was a quiet man, she provoked him. And I feel, from where I sit, I feel that if we had gender mainstreaming within media houses, if we had women being the ones who make decisions on how we cover these stories, such things would not happen. Or if we had men who are trained on how to cover traumatic experiences such as gender-based violence, the victim would not be victimized.
All right.
Yes.
Rachel Ombaka, I wish we had more time for this conversation. Of course, we can do this all night. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And that's how we've come to the end. 30 seconds for your final word as we close this particular interview.
Absolutely. I would love to particularly speak to the younger generation who probably think that the media is not a good place to be. It is a good place to be, especially when you have organizations such as Amwek speaking out for the rights of women. Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it, right? And if you can't change it, change your attitude, but don't complain. Right? So let's not complain. Right. Let's not lament. Do something about it.
All right. Yes. Avoid the book of lamentation. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel Ombaka, Vice Chairperson, Association of Media Women in Kenya, talking to us about how to balance the imbalance for women in media. And that's how we close this. And of course, I've not been doing this alone. On the other side, John Jacob Kioria, you've had it for yourself. The reality is, in the media, in the newsroom, women dealing with so many issues, but of course there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Quite an interesting conversation you had tonight, and obviously more education needs to be done because there could be those who perpetrate sexual harassment against women and they don't know they're doing it, and that is a critical component in terms of providing education for men and women in newsrooms. That's what we put a cap on Sunday Express. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Enjoy your Sunday. Of course, the week begins tomorrow.
And my name is Serfine Achieng. Have a good night and God bless.
Ili kupata huo ni upendo, kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *817#.
Sio lazima uwe na hela nyingi ama uwe tajiri mkubwa, uwe na fedha nyingi ndio uweze kumsaidia mtu. Hapana, kidogo utakachopata ama kidogo ulicho nacho, mgawie. Mfanye mwingine pia afurahie. umpatie tabasamu.
Kupata huo ni upendo kama skiza tune, bonyeza star 811 star 817 hash. Star 811 star 817 hash.
Nilipimwa hospitalini, kabainika nilikuwa na TB.
Nilianza matibabu ya TB mara moja. Nilimeza dawa zangu bila kukosa kwa muda unaofaa, kama nilivyoshauriwa na daktari.
Pata matibabu bila malipo katika hospitali zote za umma. Tujijali, tumalize TB. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Wizara ya Afya na washirika wake.
Tusifikishane huko. Kasirika. Ukitaka pasuka. Sikuogopi Kate.
Nimekasirika kwa sababu mume wangu yuanilaumu mimi wakati mimi sijakutuma wewe. Tutakuja kunishukuru siku moja hata kama si leo.
Kwa nini nimerudi hapa tena? Tena haraka sana. Ni dhahiri hujatekeleza maagizo yangu.
Kwani hapa kuna sherehe ama ndio vipi?
You have broken my heart. I trusted you.
This time on the Greats, skating dream team Torval and Dean